Megan Williams, a 48-year-old single mom, was never one for superstitions or gimmicks. Her daughter Sarah, who was in her early 20s and in the middle of her fourth attempt at college, often teased her about being too practical. Megan, however, didn't mind the teasing. It kept her grounded. But today, something about the weather felt off. The air was thick, like it knew something Megan didn't. On a random Saturday, while browsing a dusty vintage store filled with trinkets and forgotten memories, she stumbled upon an old, unassuming chocolate chip cookie box. The bright yellow label read, "The cookie box that never empties." The shopkeeper, an elderly man with an unnervingly deep voice, leaned forward as she picked up the box. "That box," he said, squinting as if he were trying to read her soul, "comes with a catch. Don't say I didn't warn you." Megan smiled politely and shrugged it off. "I'll take it," she replied, confident that it was nothing more than an odd marketing tactic. She paid, placed the box in her bag, and walked out of the shop, leaving the elderly man staring after her with an knowing grin. At home, Megan was eager to show Sarah the box. Sarah, sprawled out on the couch, rolling her eyes as usual, was more interested in her phone than in her mother's latest find. "What's this?" Sarah asked, eyeing the box suspiciously. "It's a chocolate chip cookie box that never empties," Megan said proudly, setting it down in front of her. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "So it's like magic or something?" Megan laughed. "I don't know, it just sounded fun." Jake, Sarah's boyfriend, who had the patience of a sloth on a lazy day, sauntered into the room. His curly hair was a mess, his t-shirt clearly a size too small, and he was clutching a half-finished bag of chips. "Did you say cookies?" He grinned, his eyes lighting up like a child who just found a candy stash. "I'm in." The trio sat down around the box, laughing and joking about how weird it all seemed. Megan opened the lid. The cookies inside were impossibly fresh, soft, and warm. The smell hit them first, making their stomachs growl in unison. They each took a cookie, and after one bite, they were hooked. "This is unreal," Jake said, taking another. "These are so good. You got these from a bakery?" Megan, unable to resist, reached for another. But before she could, Sarah asked, "Wait, aren't we supposed to stop eating these after, like, a few?" "Mom, didn't the guy say there was a catch?" Megan waved her off, brushing the thought away. "Relax, sweetie, I've had worse things in life than a mysterious cookie box." They kept eating. And eating. Hours went by, and the box never seemed to get emptier. There were still cookies inside. Sarah, looking suspicious, finally asked, Megan felt a chill run through her. Catch? She took another cookie. Then another. "It's probably just a fun thing to make people talk about it," she said, trying to dismiss the feeling creeping up her spine. But soon, that feeling wasn't just a feeling, it was a presence. The kitchen lights flickered, and the hum of the refrigerator seemed too loud, like it was mocking them. Jake reached into the box for another cookie, only to pull out an old-fashioned, tarnished silver spoon instead. "What the hell?" he said, staring at it. "Why is this in here?" Megan was about to shrug it off when the spoon suddenly shivered, like it had a life of its own. "Oh great," Sarah said sarcastically. "This is how horror movies start. Who wants to get possessed first?" But before anyone could respond, the temperature in the room dropped dramatically. Megan's breath fogged in front of her. She reached out for the spoon, but it shot across the room like a ghostly projectile, crashing into the far wall. The air seemed to crackle with tension. I think we need to get rid of that box," Sarah suggested, her tone no longer joking. That's crazy," Megan said. "We haven't even eaten all the cookies yet." But when she reached for the box again, the lid slammed shut by itself. It wasn't a breeze. It wasn't the wind. It was something much, much stranger. The first twist hit them hard. The room began to spin, warping like the world was being sucked into some terrible void. A voice, deep and hollow, echoed through the house, though no one was speaking. "You can't escape it now, Megan froze. "What? What is that?" she asked, her voice trembling. Sarah clenched her fists. Okay, this is ridiculous. I'm calling my therapist, and then I'm calling the police. I don't think your therapist is gonna help you with this one, hon, Jake said, trying to lighten the mood. Another twist. Just as they thought the voice was a hallucination, they all heard a sharp, menacing laugh from behind the pantry door. It was unmistakably human, but twisted. Distorted. Guys, seriously, stop messing around, Megan shouted, but the room grew darker, suffocating them in a sense of dread. Then, as they all stared at the door, it creaked open. No one had touched it. Inside the pantry, the shelves were stocked with jars of cookies. Hundreds of jars. And they were all labeled with the same disturbing phrase, the cookie box that never empties. Okay, Sarah said, her voice shaking. I'm done. Who put the extra jars in here? Megan's mind raced. No one. That's not possible. Just as they were trying to make sense of it, the lights went out. Complete darkness. In the silence that followed, they heard the unmistakable crunch of something eating. Then another crunch. A cookie monster here? Jake asked in the dark, trying to crack a joke, though his voice betrayed his fear. I swear to God, Jake, if this is you trying to freak us out. Megan began, but she was cut off when the lights flickered back on, revealing, *nothing*. There was no one in the pantry. No more jars. Just the original cookie box. Suddenly, Sarah noticed something bizarre. The cookies inside the box had begun to take on the faces of people they knew. First, it was her grandmother's face. Then, it was Megan's old boss, and even a former high school teacher. Their eyes followed her movements, the cookies now eerie and lifelike. I'm out, Jake muttered, backing toward the door. You can't leave, a voice boomed from the box. The cookies' faces twisted into grotesque smiles. Not yet. And that's when the final twist hit. The true horror behind the box wasn't the cookies, it was the souls inside them. The box was a prison, and those it trapped never escaped. Megan realized then that she had unknowingly brought home an artifact of a long-forgotten ritual. The only way to break the curse? Consume all the cookies. Every last bite. With no other choice, Megan, Sarah, and Jake sat down around the box, the cookies now eerily calm and still. They ate every last one, each bite making them feel lighter, more at ease. As the final cookie was eaten, the voice disappeared. The box remained empty. And then, in the silence, they all started laughing. I guess it was all just a really bad marketing gimmick, Sarah said, her voice a little shaky. Jake smirked. Well, at least we got cookies out of it. Best horror movie I've ever been in. Megan smiled. Yeah. But I'm never going near a vintage store again. The air in the room cleared, and the weight lifted from their shoulders. The box, empty now and harmless, sat quietly on the table. And they all agreed, no more cookie boxes for them. Thus, this story ends with the cookie box mystery solved, and the trio finding comfort in the simplest truth. Sometimes the most terrifying things come in the most unexpected packages. And in the end, they all learn to trust their instincts. But also, they learn that chocolate chip cookies make everything better, even if they never quite explained what happened.